So this is kind of continuation. This is the part two. The part one, I was recording the police earlier. I was documenting them because they told me to leave the train, so I'm not welcome in the subway. And they're making up lies about me, saying my bag is blocking the way. I'm like, my bag is not blocking anyway. This is the second train I'm getting to. So my bag is not blocking. My bag is not blocking the way. So they just trying to get me arrested and killed. You know. So under Bloomberg, they killed my friend Eric Garner, who was trying to help me after the police took my home. Bloomberg brought the order. It was a Jewish American, mayor. He brought the order that was using Israeli policies on black Americans of stop and frisk, broken windows. They said the Israelis were the one that developed this against the Palestinians. And they said this Bloomberg will be an Israeli asset, means it's an Israeli agent, and he was trying to promote that Israeli culture, of stop and frisk against black Americans. And they were getting a lot of the black Americans killed. The police would just ambush these black Americans, whether Champel, whether my friend Ghana, and kill them. So they said this Bloomberg is an Israeli agent. So he was using that stop and frisk, and they wanted to accosted my friend Eric Garner on Staten Island after Eric Garner told me he was going to help me as I was suing the police. Because the police took my home on Staten Island, my best friend apartment, took it wrongfully under Bloomberg, and I was suing them at the time, and I gave the copy of Eric Garner to help me, to give it to the police. And within days, the police surrounded him and took him dead. Even before they killed him, I had my passport. I put it in a house close to where they killed him, and the landlord in that house set the house on fire and stole that passport. That passport had my green card in it, and I was going to use that passport to sue the immigration. Because when my mother brought me to America in 2000, I had a green card in that stamp in that passport, but the immigration arrested me, so I didn't have a green card in that passport. So at that time, I was contacting lawyers through email. So I have the passport proof that I was arrested wrongfully by the U.S. immigration in 2000, and I wanted to sue them. And soon enough, the landlords allegedly started a fire in my house in the new place I was at on Canal Street next to the Clarigana on March 19, 2014. And the fire department didn't investigate that fire. Even the Staten Island Advance came and did a report that fire is suspicious, that landlord was lying about insurance, saying nobody lived in that house, but there were people living there. Me, I was there also. And they said that the landlord lied to the insurance company that place is a store. I said, if you can lie about insurance, you may have set that fire on purpose. This newspaper was speculating. And it looks like it set out the fire on purpose. And it stole my passport that had that green card. So it's like, their corrupt police were just trying to block me from suing them and suing U.S. immigration. And then after they went and took Eric Garner dead, I was going to help me. After the fire, my landlord stole my passport with the green card stamp on it. So they were trying to prevent me from proving in court that I didn't have the green card stamp in my passport when the immigration arrested me in 2000. So it seems they were just trying to block me from suing in America as a foreigner. So that's just two evidence against the Eric Garner killer. That even before they killed Eric Garner, my house was set on fire, and evidence against U.S. immigration was stolen from my passport. I had my green card stamp. You know, because I was going to use that passport to prove that I had a green card stamp in my passport. When I arrived in America, the immigration lied. I didn't have any visa and put me in removal proceedings. And my mother had to spend $10,000 to hire lawyers to stop that proceedings. It took 8 years, and my mother suffered a heart attack while the case was going on. Then years later, my mother's daughters got her killed, got her locked up in a psych hold while she was having a heart attack. Because my mother's daughters believed they could make more money if she dies. So they were trying to kill her to make, so that they can extort the U.S. government and claim, all these problems caused her to die. Yeah, it have contributed to her death, but she would have still been alive if the daughters didn't cause her to panic and die. So the Justin was planning on Florida. So back to what I'm saying, that this Bloomberg may be an Israeli agent. So Bloomberg was mayor as this police and the fire department were just doing whatever they like to minorities, there was a fire, and they didn't want to stop that fire. In the house where I put my passport in on Canal Street is I believe it was 219 Canal Street. I'm not so sure of the address anymore. You know, and the standing address reported that that fire had been started on purpose, and the landlord stole my green card after the fire. My passport, I put the green card on it, so I won't be able to prove to the immigration that I did have the passport with the visa, except that the U.S. immigration did take photocopies of my passport pages, so it's in my immigration file already, but it just don't want to have the hard copy anymore. And then weeks later, they went and took a recorder dead. So it was like they were conducting series of attacks just to get rid of any evidence and to kill a regard that was going to be helping me with my court case papers. So that instead of they were killing a regard, they were laughing. So that was just too many proof. Circumstantial evidence, the court is in court. The house was close to the time they killed Regana. That my house was set on fire, and they stole my passport and had evidence that I was going to use to sue the U.S. immigration. And Regana was going to be helping me with those cases. They took him dead weeks later. I said if the police was laughing about it. So that's proof. And this happened under Bloomberg. So Bloomberg was in trouble because the court had ordered its police to stop using that stop and frisk against black Americans and anybody else. Because it was an Israeli type procedure they were using on Palestinians, and it was unlawful to use that in America. But Bloomberg continued. The court ordered him to stop in 2013. Bloomberg continued and killed Eric Garner in 2014. So there's speculation that Bloomberg is an Israeli agent. I'm not so sure. But, they decided this Bloomberg encouraged Eric Adams to run for mayor. And after Eric Adams ran for mayor, the police continued to target me. And they arrested me in 2019, choked me like they choked Eric Garner, put me, and they were trying to kill me that day in Brooklyn. And the passerby were the ones screaming and recording it, telling them to stop. And they stole my green card and dumped me in the psych ward. So, after I came out of the psych ward in 2019, they didn't even want to release me. I had to call the Daily News while I was in the psych ward, and the case was transferred to court to determine whether I was crazy or not. And the hospital refused to produce me in court at the Brooklyn Supreme Court, and kidnapped me and went and dumped me in Manhattan, the NYU Psychiatric Hospital, Brooklyn. Didn't let me come to court, so they were just obstructing justice for me in 2019. At that time, Eric Adams was the borough president, and in 2019, and he was helping to incite this police to attack me, because it would just, it would make comments after the police harassed me. The police was harassing me in his office on Cross Street. Every time I go to the train station that used the bathroom, the police would come and move me from the bathroom. Say, get out right now. And I would tell them I have diarrhea, and they say, no, we don't care. And this, and I'll go in front of the Eric Adams office to say, look, the police need to stop harassing immigrants like me. I say in Ohio, the Nigerian became me and attacked there. I say in Iowa, they are letting undocumented immigrants have driver's licenses. I say New York needs to copy all these other states in America that give assimilating immigrants. I would say that in front of Eric Adams' office was the borough president then. Then he went and made a speech. So you go back to Ohio, you go back to Iowa. We're tired of you outsiders that come to New York and think you can be part of our society. So New York is for real New Yorkers. And we made that speech like it was insulting what I was saying. And soon after, they said Bloomberg sponsored Eric Adams to become mayor. And a parent shouted at me because at that time they never had a black American mayor. I think Jenkins. So, they said Bloomberg sponsored Eric Adams. So, because I said in Nigeria became the mayor in Ohio. So I guess to throw that job at me, they said Bloomberg sponsored Eric Adams and made him mayor. And as soon as Eric Adams became mayor, this Eric Adams was taunting me, saying the police are going to continue to arrest homeless and put us in the psych ward. That's the way my mother's daughters killed my mother, put her in the psych ward because she wasn't crazy. She was homeless like me. But she wasn't crazy, we were just having a heart problem. the daughters were feeding my mother poison. My mother was saying she went to stay with the daughters in Pennsylvania after the police took her home in New York. I said the daughter Bolani was feeding her poison. My mother believed the daughter was part of a narcotic gang because she was moving with some unscrupulous people, in Pittsburgh. So my mother fled Pittsburgh while she was having the heart problem, came to New York to come to the Bellevue Hospital, and the daughters followed her in pursuit and told the hospital to lock her up. Said she was crazy. My mother wasn't crazy. She was just a foreigner like me, and she speaks a foreign accent. Our daughters are born in America and speak an American accent. So the hospital decided to oblige the daughters that pleasure of killing my mother, but we're going to use that to extort the government here. Say, and blame the death on the government here. Say the immigration, arresting me and the police taking my home, in which me and my mother live, caused her to die early. Even though it was the daughters that just caused my mother to panic and die, as she was having a heart problem. My mother said this daughter was feeding her like narcotic, synthetic marijuana, laced food, or like a cup antifreeze, freeze, car antifreeze poison in the food. So my mother said, as soon as this daughter gave her food, my mother eats the food, my mother will start having pain in her chest. You know, so this was how they killed my mother, and this Eric Garner was taunting me because I was the only witness that could show Eric Garner was killed under this policy of Bloomberg. So Bloomberg didn't want to go to jail, so he planted this Eric Garner just to taunt me. So because I was the only living witness that could say, as soon as I got Eric Garner court papers to give to the police was beating dead, and not only that, before they beat him dead, the place I was staying in on Staten Island, near where they killed Oregano, I had evidence there against the police and against the U.S. immigration. The landlord, I believe, set the house on fire on purpose and was lying to the insurance company about everything that nobody lived in the house. I was living there, so what I said. And the fire department did investigate the fire, and the landlord stole my passport and specifically that had my green card stamp, I was able to recover some other evidence, but just that passport. So I was kind of wondering why would anybody steal a Nigerian passport? I didn't understand what that was. So I just thought, you did it in mockery. But apparently, now, considering the kid of Ghana, after that, it shows that it was a period whereby they were just trying to derail any case I have against the U.S. government or against the NYPD. And they said they were laughing as the kid of Ghana. So they were just there making mockery of my attempt to get justice in America. I said the police was mocking. And this Bloomberg news was in trouble. So I said got Eric Adams to become mayor. But the court had told him to stop this stop and frisk. That was too dangerous, and he continued to stop and frisk. So this Bloomberg news was in trouble because now Eric Garner is dead. I have all the information. So he appointed Eric Adams. Even Eric Adams admitted that Bloomberg is his mentor. And as soon as Eric Adams became mayor, Eric Adams was saying, we are going to continue with the policies of Bloomberg. The Israeli policies of Bloomberg, stop and frisk of black Americans. And and he was even mocking the way I was arrested under that Bloomberg policy in 2019. I used to use the route train, the Q train, to go to the bathroom at the train station bathroom at Prospect Park. And they were using guns to intimidate me, so I'm not welcome in New York. Under the Oregano policy, that we ourselves are not welcome. So any go to my country to come and read the book and say, get out of New York. Get out of New York, you're not welcome here. Even as a rap song. As a rap song, one of these drill rappers, I think they call them drill, said, get out of New York, you're not welcome anymore. Get out of New York. I was referencing the way I was attacked in Pittsburgh. So go to Pierre or something. They used to play that song on Power 105.1. So get out of New York, go to Pierre or something. You're not welcome in New York. So the street was joining in with this Arigana and joining with the Bloomberg to talk me, and they were releasing rap songs like that. Say, get out of New York, you're not welcome anymore. And since then, this Arigana was saying the same thing. That we're tired of you outsiders that come to New York and simply think we have to accept you. Say, go back to Ohio, go back to wherever you came from. Because I used to use Ohio and Iowa as places New York needs to copy. I said in Ohio, in Nigeria, like we became the mayor in a town there, and I used to say Iowa is given undocumented immigrant driver's license. So this I gotta make those references. And soon the person started attacking me everywhere. And they were just trying to kill me, put me in the sidewalk, 2019. On that day, I was doing a rush on the train station in Prospect Park. And soon as I got up, was making mockery. Said, no more barbecue, no more barbecue in the subway. So my name is Babatunde, I'm a Nigerian. So I used to ride the Q train. So it was making fun of my name, Baba, Q. So no more barbecue on the subway. And since they scared me, choked me to death, almost choked me to death, for riding the Q train that day, I stopped riding the Q train. So this is terrorism in your subway. So this Arikana said they're going to bring back that policy again. They stopped it for a while. They said it's going to continue. They said this on Friday, April 12, 2025. Since then, it's fools have been surrounding me, making up lies. So you're blocking everywhere. Oh my goodness, you're blocking everywhere. You gotta get out. I'm not blocking everywhere. Why are you always lying? So they're surrounding me. So oh my goodness, you're blocking everywhere. People are complaining. You're blocking everywhere. So I'm not blocking everywhere. The doors are closing. So it's like they want to kill me again. They want to try to kill me again. And they're making up lies against me. And even when Hamas attacked Israel, they were arresting this Eric Adam and his gang were arresting me in New York. They won't let me use the bathroom. Anywhere I tried to use the bathroom. I used to go to New Jersey to go take a shower at a community center there. And some black Americans told me, you're not welcome in New Jersey. Stop coming here. So at that time, I couldn't take a shower. I couldn't use the bathroom. And then Eric Adam took a flight and went to Israel and was holding his nose while talking to Netanyahu. Saying it was a surprise visit. Netanyahu wasn't expecting Eric Adam. At that time, I was being a Trump. But black Americans in America, you're not welcome in New Jersey, you're not welcome in New York. And all of a sudden, Eric Adam took a trip to Israel. He was holding his nose while he was talking to Netanyahu. And Netanyahu welcomed him. It was a surprise visit. They said he wasn't planning to go to Israel. I guess he was taunting me because my mother was trying to go to Israel before the Jonas ambushed her, said she's not going anywhere, and got her locked up. So Eric Adam said it's the new Esther, my mother's name is Esther. My mother was going to go to Israel to pray. She was having a heart disease, and she was going to go to Israel to pray and go to the hospital there. But her daughter was trying to say I had a better job for her. They wanted her to die here in America. They didn't want her to survive, so they can blame the U.S. government and police for taking my home and for putting me in immigration prison. These are the things that my mother and I was trying to solve before she died. And she that killed her. But it was the daughters that ambushed her in the hospital and told the hospital to lock her up in the cycle. My mother was going to survive all the issues we had. I'd been suffering from the immigration, from the NYPD. So this Eric Adam, which seems, he said he's working for Bloomberg, and people have been circulating that Bloomberg is an Israeli agent. So Eric Adam went to Israel and was holding his nose with his hand, meeting with Netanyahu. Around the time Hamas retaliated and blew up Israel. Even the Israel was saying they weren't expecting Hamas to blow up Israel. Because they said they had the informants within Hamas, and usually when the Hamas plans to attack, the informants will tell them and they will thwart the attack. They said it was a surprise attack, like they just did it sporadically. And it was soon after Eric Adam went to Israel. He was holding his nose. So apparently it was taunting me, and the Hamas was able to be aware it was taunting me. And the Hamas chose a day, October 7th. October is Nigeria's Independence Day, birth month from the British. And the number 7 is my birth month, July. So Hamas chose October 7th to blow up Israel. And since then, many of these college kids have been getting arrested for marching for the Palestinians. Eric Adam has started this stuff, and Trump is protecting him. He deliberately went to a sensitive area of the world to go and provoke the people there. So guys, these Hamas, they don't like transactions, these Hamas, and they're not in support of me. But I guess, they may have retaliated. That is an Israeli agent, they must suspect it's an Israeli agent. And as this Bloomberg may be torturing me in New York, making sure this Arukana makes sure I don't get no shelter, I don't get nothing, and I die on the street. So I went to Israel to to possibly trump me, because my mother was trying to go to Israel. She was a U.S. citizen trying to go to Israel, and she couldn't go there. I just pulled her card, locked her up, to the party here in America, pulled somebody's card. So this Eric said it's the new East Esther. So I need this Eric investigated for inciting terror against me in New York. He may be behind the black Americans that will be attacking me, so that they will punch me, so that they will throw my stuff on the floor. So you're not welcome in New York. And it's a black American rapper. Say, get out of New York. You're not welcome anymore. Get out of New York. You're not welcome anymore. He's a drill rapper, and it's inciting black Americans to be attacking Africans so that the punches on the train. And this American doesn't, and this Trump doesn't want the secret to come out, and is asking the court to dismiss any case against American. Say dismiss. And in 2019, when Eric Adam was taunting me, some Turkish people were also calling the police on me. And one of them grabbed me, and the police came and arrested me and put me in the cycle, took my green card. So that case has to be reinstated. They say now Trump is sending this Eric Adam to help me with immigration enforcement, and Eric Adam must agree to put ICE back in Rikers Island prison to make it easy to deport immigrants. Sometimes if they arrest you, they can say that the ICE can deport you so-called accidentally. So when the train is so loud. So this has to be investigated. So the police are surrounding me. And on Friday, which I believe is April 12, 2025, I was standing in front of the Brooklyn Library. Somebody drove their car off the sidewalk and tried to hit me with the car. And as soon as I ran away from the crime scene, I was recording. The video has disappeared from my phone. And some of the police on the train station were saying, go home. As soon as I arrived at the train station on Quad Street. So they're expressing all kinds of terror type attack in which it's designed to just throw germs at me, and it's such panicking me. And also, my friend Uganda was killed while trying to help me. So this blue dog is to be investigated for being a possible ancestry. Due to is possible negligence or intentional acts. Whereby we introduce an Israeli method against black Americans and minorities, and that method has called stop and frisk has gotten Arugana killed, Chambel killed. And I'm the living witness, especially as to how my friend Arugana was killed while he was trying to help me. Against with my progress against the police. So right now the police are harassing me, and they said this Trump, attended the WWE event, said SmackDown, and this was they said this Trump has been found to be inciting, mob vigilante attacks. They said January 6th, he was telling people to fight like hell, and people came on January 6, 2021, people came to the certification venue for the elections for Biden to become president in the Congress, and the Trump supporters came after Trump was inciting them to come and fight like hell. And he said, these people took over the Congress and was trying to block Biden from becoming president. So this was before Biden could charge Trump with insurrection, was arrested, I believe, for it, but Trump became president, so dismissed all the cases. So now, they said this Trump went to a WWE event and was saying SmackDown. So it may be a call to the police department who supported Trump to come and get me. So in the party, they said he also sent his transportation secretary to say they need to get rid of all these homeless. They're a shithole, So it seems that the police have been surrounding me, making up lies. So you're blocking everywhere. I'm not blocking everywhere. So they don't let me sleep at night. They sleep deprive me like I'm a slave. And it just, I'm not blocking everywhere. And normally I prefer the outside because it has more space for me. But it's time to get off the outside. So they sleep depriving me. So this has to be investigated. Like this Lolita James said, they're going to investigate any influence of Trump on New York City politicians to detain and abuse immigrants wrongfully. So my mother was a U.S. citizen killed. And this Trump has been targeting students and arresting them. My mother was coming on a student visa in the 1970s from Canada, and they didn't let her. The immigration said they suspended her student visa was fake and rejected her entry, and my father was a student visa. I had to go bail her out. And this Trump especially have been targeting people with student visa, saying they're lying to get a student visa and deporting them. So this was my mother's history. I said, some of the policies just designed to taunt me. And, and I've suffered enough. My mother was a U.S. citizen. She's been killed already. And I just need to have a break. I just need all these crimes against my mother and me to be investigated. And Bloomberg, any role your government officials may have played in inciting violence against me to be investigated. And also, I used to go to Trump's hotel before he became president. I used to go to his hotel in Taj Mahal, and I have diarrhea. This was like 10 years ago, and I'll go there to use the bathroom and gamble. I have a casino card. And it started told me to stop calling me, so we don't want the types there. I'm calling the police on me. So I recorded them, myself was going to sue them. So I came up to New York, and I was dealing with Arizona, was going to help me with the public, and the police wanted to beat Arizona dead. You know, and, and I was standing in front of Trump's house, because a group said, a Christian group said they were going to give us free food. So I drove my car and stood in front of his house. And Trump came with his car. He was in the back seat, and his driver drove, and they almost hit me. And I ran away. And people were saying, that's Trump, and his driver trying to hit through the car. And Trump has boast about it, said we'll kill somebody on Fifth Avenue and get away with it. And not only that, after he became president finally, his first term, there was COVID in 2020, and people were dying everywhere. So I practiced alternative therapy, and it's like this Trump was trying to get me killed. He was saying anyone afraid of COVID should drink bleach. Bleach cures COVID. And I almost drank bleach. A woman drank bleach in Florida and she died. It was when this Trump was trying to get killed. I almost drank bleach because, he must have found out, but they say there's rogues in the FBI that always, you know, tells, pull their records out and give it to their cronies. They said this Trump has a lot of spies in the FBI. So I was in immigration prison in 2000. So if you've ever been in immigration prison, you're going to be put on FBI surveillance forever. So yeah, I practiced a lot of alternative therapy. So there was a time while my court case was going on in immigration court, I was using an acid to try to cure an ailment I had, and I suffered skin burn. I had to call 911 from that acid use. So they must. Always buy a lot of this alternative therapy online to use, you know, for any ailment I have, you know. So I guess they must have picked up through their surveillance intercept that I practice a lot of alternative therapy. And this Trump was trying to lure me to drink bleach in 2020 because he was afraid he may lose the election. Because at that time, I was reaching out on the train to people that my green card had been stolen when the police arrested me and put me in the psych ward. And I was telling people to help me contact the authorities to make arrest of this police officer at the hospital system, NYU Psychiatric Hospital, where they detained me in 2019. And they were trying to get me to apply for Medicaid. I said, that's fraud. I'm not crazy. Why would you detain me? So that hospital bill was never paid. And to show this Eric Adams consciousness of guilt, when he became mayor, he said New York City is not going to help people pay their hospital bill, whether they want it paid or not. So I think I straight on my hospital bill, even though I didn't want it paid because it's evidence of fraud, and he went and paid it, which is a violation of HIPAA law. Under the United States federal law, you can't, you know, get into other people's medical records and without their permission. So it's an abuse of power. But this Ricardo is trying to cover for his cronies, and he has been taking steps to incriminate himself. Voluntary step. I never asked him to pay the hospital bill, and all of a sudden I said that New York City is going to pay the hospital bill. The only thing I contacted them for is that there's a court order that said people that were vacated from their apartment to be given shelter And he never gave me shelter. I told him so many times on Twitter, and he used to be on a Black American radio station, WBLS, every Sunday, every second Sunday of the month between 10:30 a.m. and 11 a.m. And he gave his phone number to his Black American listeners. They should call him if they ever need his help. So I left him a text message and his phone number, and he never helped me. I sent him a message on Twitter. But if you're helping Black Americans in my situation, if you're a vacator like me, you put them in a hotel room. You know, so my mother's daughters lied on my mother and put her on the sideboard in 2015 wrongfully. In 2001, they did it to me also. My mother took me to Pennsylvania in 2001 because we had been just been evicted to a state hotel here in Staten Island. Here in New York City, Staten Island. I'm in Queens right now, but I was on Staten Island with my mother in 2001. And, and so my mother got tired of paying the hotel bill. So she tricked me and said I should go with her to Pennsylvania. I didn't want to go with her because her drugs were very violent. She picked my mother up in Nigeria, tell her to bring them to America. So I said, no, I don't want to live with your drugs. My mother said, no, it's just a brief visit. We're going to come back together, me and her, to New York. So she tricked me to get on the Greyhound bus with her. And when we got to Pennsylvania, so I noticed my mother's daughter, Flora, put my mother in the car. I said, we're going to drive back to the Greyhound station in Pennsylvania. So I got in the car, and the daughter told me to get out of the car. As I was getting out, the daughter ran me over with the car and sped away. And the other daughter called the police on me. Said I was crazy. I was attacking them. And this occurred at 636 Industry Street, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So that area, there's a lot of crime that happens there. So the police come there a lot. So there were people hanging out on the street and they was just watching what was happening. My mother's daughter ran me over with the car, Flora, and to hold me hostage in Pittsburgh. So I won't be able to return back to New York with my mother. Because my mother had tricked me to come with her to Pittsburgh, kidnapped me from New York to go to Pittsburgh. But I didn't want to leave New York because my immigration case was in New York in 2001. So I wanted to stay in New York to finish my case. So when we got to Pittsburgh, the daughters ran me